Hello, it's Brent Share Leverage Lean, and today is Monday, which means it's Macro Monday, and I can't think of a better way to start out your week than being more efficient and effective on your computer. And the best way to do that is install our latest macro. What kind of macro we posted this morning? Let me show you. Alright, this is the macro we're dropping this morning. This is the Create tab per filter value macro. This is an Excel macro that filters through a column and creates a new worksheet for each unique value found. By default, the active column selected will be filtered. If the active column selected is blank, an input box will ask for the column number to filter. And then once that column has been identified, all of the duplicate values will be removed from that column, and what remains will be used to determine how many tabs to create. And additionally, this macro will pull in all of the relevant information into each of those worksheets being created. This macro is an efficient way to view all of your data in separate tabs. You could filter and checkmark and copy and paste all of those things into your own created tabs, but that's a lot of manual work, and using VBA you can eliminate all of it. If you've yet to see this macro in action, go ahead and check out the See It in Action video here. And as you continue to work your way down, the best part of this page is the code for the Create tab per filter value macro. But before we get into that, if this is your first time using VBA, you need to finish these 3 steps. Activate the developer tab, update your macro security, and set up references for leverage and lean macros. And let me show you how fast you can do this. Let's navigate into Excel, and then going to Customize Quick Access Toolbar, we're going to go to More Commands, and then within More Commands, go ahead and click Customize Ribbon. Heading over to the main tab section, when you scroll down, you'll see that the developer tab is uncheckmarked. Go ahead and checkmark that and click OK. You now have enabled the developer tab. If you navigate over to the developer tab, you can head over to macro security. In macro security, you'll see that all of the macros are currently being disabled without a notification. Let's go ahead and enable all of them. This isn't recommended in Excel, but I'm going to show you each line of code this macro runs so you can confirm this is doing exactly as I say. Go ahead and click OK. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to set up the references for this macro to work. Let's navigate into Visual Basic, and you'll see if this is your first time entering Visual Basic, you need to create a module. Go ahead and use this black drop down arrow and click Module. We now have a Module 1. And then navigating over to Tools, you'll see there is the ability to select References. If you click References, you'll see the following being checkmarked, and this is all you need to do. If other macros require additional references, you can navigate through and then checkmark and click OK. But as long as you have these 4 selected, this macro will work just fine. Alright, let's go ahead and navigate back over to Leverage and Lean, and let's copy and paste this code into Visual Basic. To do that, navigate over to this white space in between the code lines and the physical code itself. You can just double click, and you've selected all of the code. With Control C, you've copied, and then navigating back over into Visual Basic, you can paste this all into Module 1 that we just created. And here is all of the code for the Create tab per filter value macro. So let me walk you through this. You can see exactly what this macro does. Just by snapping this over to the right, I'll go ahead and pull Excel up over here. And the column I want to focus in on is column D. So this is the department names. You'll see I have marketing, sales, some IT. Now I could apply a filter to this column and figure out how many unique values there are, and then determine maybe how many rows are in marketing, how many rows are in sales, or I can use this code to do it for me. So with any row in column D selected, I know that the active column is going to be D for this macro. As I mentioned before, you will get an input box that will tell you otherwise. Alright, so let's walk through this code. I'm just going to use F8 to start walking through it. If there's an error, we'll end up at the bottom with a message box and the error details. So right now I'm just looking at our active worksheet. I want to collect some information. What's the name, what's the last column number, letter, and last row. Now let's determine our active column selected. If for some reason the active column is greater than the last column number, I'm assuming it's blank. So you get the input box asking what columns to select. And then moving on, taking the active column, let's select it, copy it, and then we're going to paste it 2 columns from the last column just to get it out of the way. And this is where we're going to remove the duplicates. So for each duplicate identified, we're going to create a tab. If for some reason this column has more than 50 rows, I don't think Excel can handle that. We're going to exit the sub. So just make sure that you are in fact selecting the right column and there's the appropriate amount of worksheets to create. Now with counter 2 here, I'm assuming there's a header row, so I don't want to create a tab for the header row, so I'm using 2 here. If you don't use headers, you might want to change this to 1. So here is we're going to start to loop through each of these values, create their own tab, and pull in the relevant information. So as I start to work our way through here, you'll see we are now filtered to just marketing. Marketing has been selected and then copied and pasted into its own tab. And I'll start to hit through this a little faster. You'll see it'll do this for sales. It'll do this for IT. And if I just hold our way through, and we'll continue to work our way all the way through until we get all the way to the end here. And this is where you're going to see a nice message box saying the tab has been created for each filter value. You can just go ahead and click OK to get out of that, and then we will exit the sub. So let me maximize this to really show you what happened. I know it gets a little spotty with all of that going around really fast. You'll see each tab has been created for each value found in that duplicate column, and all of the information associated with that filter value has been pulled in. So I absolutely love this macro. It's great, really fast, and I'm going to show you how to do this even quicker with a custom button. So let's go ahead and create a custom button. I'm just going to get off the developer tab, and I want to focus in, where do I want to put this custom button? I'll show you how to make a custom tab. So let's navigate up to the Customize Quick Access toolbar, go to More Commands, then head over to Customize Ribbon. So over here we're going to create a new tab. So it's going to end up just underneath the Home tab, which is exactly where I want it. Let's go ahead and change the tab name. I like to name this Macros. Go ahead and click OK. And then for the custom group, I like to leave it blank. Feel free to name it whatever you like. Now with the custom group, underneath the custom tab selected, go ahead and head over to Popular Commands, select Macros, and then pull in the Create tab per filter value macro. Let's go ahead and rename this macro. Let's put some spaces in. And then pick your image or icon you want to use. I'm just going to use a filter icon. It's just easier to remember exactly what's happening. You can use any icon that you want. Now you'll see a couple things happen here. We have a new macros tab and then a custom button for the Create tab per filter value macro. So let me clear this. Let me clear what has all been done previously as we walk through the code, and instead show you how fast this is and what it looks like just by hitting this custom button. Let's delete all of the tabs we created. Again, what column do you want to select? Let me show you what happens if you select a blank column. When I select the button, you'll see that the pop-up immediately comes up to ask what column do you want to filter. Now I can either select any column out here, but the column I want to actually select is 4 for D. So if I go ahead and click OK, it's going to use column D and do exactly what it walked through, but it's going to do it pretty quickly. And then you'll see the nice pop-up, a tab has been created for each filter value, and you can click OK. Alright, so that's lightning fast. If we navigate back over here to leverageandlean.com, if I navigate all the way down here, there's the Customize section. So I want to walk you through this. I talked about the duplicate last row variable. If it's over 50, if you're trying to create more than 50 tabs, I'm going to fail this macro. You can remove this, you can change it to less, you can change it to more, that's totally up to you. The counter value of 2, I'm assuming there's a header row. If you're not using headers for some reason, go ahead and change it to a 1, that might work a bit better for you. The auto filter mode to false at the end. I remove the filter, I apply a filter in the macro, and then I remove it at the end so you don't see it. You might want to keep it there, I'm not quite sure. It's an option for you. In the duplicates values column, you can delete that at the end. That's what I'm doing, or you can leave it there by removing or making this code line a comment. And then the message box at the end. I like to finish my macros in the message box. I like to show that if they're successfully run and they're done. You might just want to see that for what it is and then just remove that additional click at the end. Go ahead and make that a comment. Alright, well that's all I have for this one. I absolutely love the Create tab per filter value macro. It's a great way to break things apart. You can build off this in so many different ways. Stay tuned for more macros, and as always, stay awesome. Thank you so much for taking time to view this video. I really do appreciate it. If you want to start using the macro seen in this video today, just visit leveragelean.com. If you could do me another big favor, please subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay updated on any new videos that I'm posting. Like us, follow us on all of our other social media channels, and as always, stay awesome.